in a normal person's house, a life is the largest inanimate thing we build. How do we make that inanimate thing our lives? It becomes our lives, because we spend our lives there. We are with our loved ones there. And the first and foremost thing here in this project is to capture that. And the house becomes the background to their lives. I'm Gaurav Roy Chaudhary, and I have a small little firm in Bangalore. Our main intentions in terms of our practice is to have a lot of detail, a lot of love to what we do, and play with space where we try and do playful architecture. So we're looking at people mainly as our main focus. So this is a small quaint town which along the whole coast we have it's a very culturally rich area. So the site is almost a 11,000 square foot site which is tapering, so it has a shape this way. The slope of the land is actually gradating in this direction towards your north. And also the local setback rules were quite stringent. So what we had to do is we had to actually leave this much of a setback. So the plan is quite simple. We have 4 quadrants which are this way. The northeast quadrant, which is this quadrant, becomes the public quadrant. The master bedroom comes in here. This becomes the kitchen, and this becomes the guest bedroom on the lower floor. Though it's a small sleepy town, but it has been getting a lot of traffic, and it will probably keep on increasing. So we wanted to keep this as a buffer. So we said that, okay, let's green this up. So let's have big trees. So what happens is all the noise of the street is buffered in, and it doesn't reach the house. If you go to a forest, a human being probably doesn't kind of recognize anything because there's so much to grasp. So only the graspable greenery of the outside kind of comes in through the building, so we can connect with it at our level. There's also one addition. We had an old well which we actually preserved, which came in here. So that was another part of the plan which came in. So therefore, we had to kind of work around it. What we did is we introduced 2 green areas from here to here. So this becomes a green area, this becomes a green area. And this becomes actually the core of the house. Okay, and the narrowness of the site actually determined in which the way in which we kind of worked out this whole the spaces, and the courtyards become primal to it. So at the end of the day, how big the house is, it's very important that it has a core which is full of energy. It's almost like a vortex which promotes like this. You can disappear into your own rooms, but when you come out, you kind of come into those spaces. So now we are in the vortex of the house where we have all the staircases. So you have the lower area, which is the public area. So you have a 3 feet level difference which comes in here. What this split allows us to do is it allows the next level shrink. So what that shrinkage does is it creates a scale, gives a scale to the house which makes it more intimate. So where people can converse from this level talking to this. So that shrinkage is something which is very important, especially when you're building a big house. So you have to take care of it to make sure the intimacy is not compromised. So the idea of this house is actually a shifting of these planes. So another thing which we have done is we have been able to create green spaces. These blank walls come in, and these green spaces actually animate the house. So all you get is light from this point, you get light from here, you get light from inside. So your site extends somewhere here, we plant greenery outside and it starts coming inside the house. And these are the backdrops for the bedrooms, you know. So early morning is when you get light in from this area, and the sun moves and till here, and evening is when you start getting this light. Through midday, what you start getting is evaporation happening here and a microclimate developing here, and which actually goes and passes through the house. Similarly, it does this as well. So because our skylights which we kind of come in, they create heat, and as soon as heat is there, the low pressure areas which take the air out, and the cool denser air comes and replaces it. So also the separation of the private and the public becomes very important. So what you have is a person living in the living room has no idea, maybe can just see the treetops of this garden here, but has no idea. Only when you climb the stairs and go via the lines of privacy of the house will you reach its intimate areas. The only part of the house which, other than a dining, which has actually got a cutout. So the reason for that is that this becomes the soul of the house in terms of how the family rotates around it. So what you have around it, the study on that side, you have the AV room on that side, you have the living this side and the dining that way. So the counters become important. What we have is we have these shifting walls which we talked about. You have the a wall behind through which the greenery actually goes out. And then you have another wall with a skylight which just washes down the light. The clients were very clear that they didn't want to necessarily make a show out of the building. So it became very interesting for me to experiment with the idea of an anonymous house or a faceless house. So we took that idea and thought, what if the house doesn't have a face? And instead of a white block, so the white is probably the most neutral color, so we chose the white block. And it's also very important to the clients with this kind of weather that we reduce the texture, because anything which has texture turns green in this weather. So it's very important that they didn't want laterite, they didn't want brick, they didn't want all of that, they didn't want it to become mossy over a period of time. So white took this form, because of its neutrality, and it also passed on the idea what we're talking about. And so the building itself, a normal building would be like a block this way. So what we have done here is we have broken it. We've broken it, we've shattered it, we have layered it such that it starts interfacing with the greenery around it. So privacy can be created in this way, but openness can be created when you look through it, right? So we've used these planes as a language to develop the language of the house. Our architecture is not something which we're trying to project onto people, but something which we listen, and we almost become the medium through which this architecture is produced.